हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल एक्सप्लोर बायोलॉजी। आज की वीडियो में मैं डिस्कस करूंगी क्लास 9th साइंस का बायोलॉजी का फर्स्ट चैप्टर द फंडामेंटल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ। हियर आई विल प्रोवाइड यू short notes of this chapter that would be helpful for your exams. So, let's start the chapter. Just like a house is made up of bricks, similarly, all living organisms are made up of cells. Therefore, cell is known as the fundamental unit of life, structural and functional unit of life. Cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665 while observing a thin slice of cork through the microscope. He observed boxes-like structure and he called these boxes cells. So, cell is a Latin word which means a little room. Robert Hooke discovered cell in 1665, but that was a dead cell. And the first living cell was discovered by Leeuwenhoek in 1674. Robert Brown was another scientist who discovered nucleus in cell in 1831. The term protoplasm was coined by Purkinje in 1839. Cell theory was given by Schilden and Swan, and it states that all the plants and animals are made up of cells, and cell is the basic unit of life. Another scientist, Rudolf Virchow, expanded cell theory in 1855, and he suggests that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Organisms are of two types, unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular organisms are made up of single cell. Examples are amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, bacteria. Multicellular organisms are made up of many cells. Examples are fungi, plants, animals. Some organisms can have cells of different kinds. This figure shows some cells from the human body like smooth muscle cell, blood cell, nerve cell, fat cell, bone cell. So, different cells have different shapes depending on the function they perform. Shape and size of cells vary according to their function. Some cells have changing shapes like amoeba, while some have typical shape like nerve cells. Division of labor is seen in multicellular organisms like human beings. That means different parts of human body perform different functions. Division of labor is also seen in unicellular organism because each cell has specific components within it that are called as cell organelles, and each cell organelle has a special function. If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across three features in almost every cell, that is plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. Now coming to plasma membrane, which is also called cell membrane, which is the outermost covering of cell that separate the contents of the cell from the external environment. It is flexible and is made up of lipids and proteins. Cell membrane is called selectively permeable membrane because it allows the entry and exit of selected materials in and out of the cell. Some substances like carbon dioxide, oxygen can move across the cell membrane by the process called diffusion. The process through which substances move across the cell membrane are diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion is the movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. It means when any substance moves from a region where it is present in large amount to a region where it is present in less amount, it is called diffusion. Diffusion play an important role in the exchange of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen between the cell as well as the cell and its external environment, while osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a selectively permeable membrane from a region of high water concentration to a region of low water concentration. Example of osmosis is the absorption of water by plant roots. So, plant roots absorb water from the soil by the process of osmosis. Now, if we put an animal cell or a plant cell into a solution of sugar or salt in water, then any of the following three things could happen. First case is that when a cell is placed in a solution that has exactly same water concentration as the cell, then there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane. In the first figure, relative salt concentration is same inside the cell and in the surrounding medium. So, net movement of water across the cell membrane will be zero, and such a solution is called isotonic solution. Here, water crosses cell membrane in both the directions. It means the amount of water going in the cell is same as the amount of water going out of the cell. So, there is no net movement of water and the size of cell remains the same. In the second figure, relative salt concentration is more inside the cell. It means that the medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration than the cell. So, water will move into the cell by osmosis and the cell will swell up. Such a solution is called hypotonic solution. In the third figure, when a cell is placed in a very concentrated solution, it means now the medium surrounding the cell has lower water concentration than the cell. So, in this case, cell will lose water by osmosis and cell will shrink, and such a solution is called hypertonic solution. So, there are three types of solution: isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. In isotonic solution, the medium surrounding the cell has same water concentration as the cell, so net movement of water will be zero and cell size will remain same. In hypotonic solution, the medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration than the cell, so cell will gain water by osmosis and the cell will swell up. In hypertonic solution, surrounding medium has lower water concentration than the cell, so cell will lose water by osmosis and the cell will shrink. The flexibility of cell membrane also help in uptake of food by the process called endocytosis. Through this process, amoeba acquire its food, in which cell engulf in food and other material from the external environment. Next is cell wall. Cell wall is present outside the plasma membrane in plants, fungi and bacteria, but absent in animals. The plant cell wall is made up of cellulose that provides structural strength to plants. The cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin, and the bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. When a living plant cell lose water through osmosis, there is shrinkage or contraction of contents of the cell away from the cell wall. This phenomena is called plasmolysis, and the cell that lose water is called plasmolyzed cell. That's all for today, and rest of the topics will be covered in next video. If you like the video, then share with your friends and subscribe the channel.